Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my review of the movie Acrimony. Did you watch it? Well, if you did not watch it, I know that I have some persons who took the time out to watch the review, watch my initial response to it, and I just want to give you a quick shout out and just to say thank you, and I hope to have your continued support. And for those who have not yet checked out the movie, I think you should. I mean, it's not a new movie. It is not something that is new on the market, guys. It was released in 2018. It is a psychological thriller, and I am sure you will enjoy it. Mr. Perry, Tyler Perry, oh my God, you outdid yourself. I mean, the impact of this movie is far-reaching. I mean, it has gotten people feeling all kind of things, thinking all kind of things. If you check themselves and all of that. So trust me, Mr. Perry, Tyler, that's off to you. You did an awesome job. All right, so guys, after doing my first review last week Monday, yes, so on Mondays we'll be having our movie reviews. All right, so check out my channel every Monday, and that is where we will be talking about different types of movie, and you can feel free to suggest movies in the comment section, and I will definitely be watching and giving my take on it. All right, so after doing my initial review last week, I met with some persons and I shared my reviews with them, and I asked them, did you watch that movie by any chance? And of course, oh my God, a whirlwind started, because right away people start get up them friend, people start call who they fi call, people start going back into them feelings, they start going back into their feelings, and like, oh my gosh, I mean, it is just amazing, right? So yes, I will be sharing some clips from persons who I've spoken with about the movie. You'll only be here in the audio section, though. You won't be actually seeing the persons, but I will insert some audio section, just some sections where you can hear some teenagers, yes, teenagers giving their view of, the whole movie and what happened in it. All right. So let me delve into my second, just my second this next view that I have about the movie. All right, so I want to start by saying that I do not necessarily think that it is Melinda's sisters who caused the breakup. So even though I started the last video asking the question, what role do you think family members play, in helping you or helping people in general to solve their marital conflicts or their relational conflicts. So I am not attributing family relationships to the breakdown of Melinda's relationship. Shout out to you, Melisha. Thank you so much for giving your comments on my video. I appreciate your support and I appreciate your insights. So big up yourself, Melisha. And for all other persons who are watching, yeah, you can still share your views, okay? I'm still looking out for it. All right, so yeah, it is not just the relationship. I believe that many factors, many factors contributed to it, and some of those things which I saw coming out, you have many themes in the movie. Some of the themes that I saw coming out are, you have sacrifice, you have self-sacrifice, yes, you have the theme of forgiveness, you have the theme of support, you have conflict resolution, you have dealing with loss and separation, you also have the issue of how to cope with divorce. How do you deal with anger? How do you deal with, I said loss, but that's a big one, right? How do you cope in general with major life changes, right? Decision making. And I'm sure that there are many others. If you can think of other themes that were portrayed in the movie, you can also feel free to share that in the comment below. All right. So those are some of the things that I saw coming out of the movie. So we were looking at some of the factors that could have contributed to Melinda walking out of the relationship and her facing that kind of end, you know. So some of the things which I think contributed to her leaving, I think frustration. I mean, she was with this person, with Robert. She was with Robert for over 18 years, 20 years in this marriage, you know, not getting as much affection as she would like, working 2 3 jobs, keeping up the house, taking care of everything, and not feeling like she's getting that support. And through it all, she loved him. She was never disrespectful to him, and Robert was never disrespectful to her either, right? But over so many years passing and you not seeing any result, then I guess, you know, from a human standpoint, we can understand that there would be a build-up of, you know, frustration, agitation, and that is fueled by the intervention of her family and her friends, telling her that we tell us this man no up to no good long time, we are still a do with him, let him go, make him go on. So in addition to the fact that she was already stressed, she was already, you know, just fed up with things, and then you have the fuel being added by the family members that led to her making the decision. All right, and then adding insult to injury, the fact that this young lady, you know, Diana, who got involved in the relationship in the initial years. Remember, can't bomb rush Diana still, you know, because Diana never knew at the first time, at the onset, she didn't know that he was in a relationship. So she herself was being played. We can't bomb rush a girl or the lady and say, well, whatever, right? But at the end, where Robert ended up proposing to her and getting married to her, I think that really ticked Melinda off, because in her mind, and which of you honestly can say that you yourself wouldn't be, you know, thinking to yourself that, oh, so all along he has been going behind my back and having a relationship with her. I mean, you know, your first thought is not going to be that, oh, maybe they meet up by the road or something and this, you know, fire rekindle and all of that. You know, that's not going to be your first thought. You're going to be thinking that, oh, this girl was there years ago. I mean, she's the one he was cheating with. So, you know, how coincidental is it that as she see him one now, come take over and live my life, right? So, I think those, you know, frustration, you know, putting up with so much for over the years, so she got impatient. I mean, the stress of losing, the fact that she's gonna lose her house, she has sacrificed so much, right? What I must say though, I mean, it's not all bad. I actually like the fact that her family was supportive. Do you blame her sister for her role in the whole thing? I mean, can you blame her? I think in my mind, I'm thinking that she was just being the supportive, loving sister. She wanted the best for her sister. I mean, and there's no way that her sister could have seen that the man would have made it big. And as I said, and as I said that part about the man making it big, how differently would it have turned out if the man's project, if his work on the battery did not actually turn out to be the success that it got to be? How differently would you feel about how things played out? I mean, would Melinda have gone to the extreme of trying to win him back? You know, would she have gone to that rage and want to intervene and to, you know, and if the battery never take off, if the battery project didn't become a major success and he had moved on and gone to be with Diana, you know, what would have been our perspectives then, right? And when we think about that, it causes us to introspect and to look at ourselves. You know, how do we form opinions or judgments of other people, of their situation, of their relationship, right? So I mean, I like the fact that her sister stood by her. Maybe their approach was not the best, but I think their intentions were really good. Their intentions were good. Yes, I mean, they did not have the foresight to know that, okay, I mean, if she sticks with this gentleman, things will eventually work out okay for her. Yes, so her sisters had no idea, I mean, that, you know, if she stays with the gentleman, then things will have eventually turned out for her. And, you know, I use this opportunity to inject also an observation of the fact that so often we beat upon the men and say, I mean, he never fight, he didn't try to, get her to stay. And I mean, how could he have moved on to this other person, move on so quickly? But I mean, in the movie, it was clear that each time Melinda threatened to leave Robert, or each time she expressed some amount of frustration, up to the point of signing the divorce papers, he did say to Melinda that if you go now, I have nothing left, because you have been the one who always believed in me, and that is what has been carrying me. And Melinda did not listen. And we can't blame Melinda. We can't blame nobody really. Everybody, I think just made a decision that they thought was best for them at the time. But I just want to make it sink in though. The movie brought out the fact that so often we beat down on the men. And I think, based on my interaction with other persons who watched the movie, quite a number of persons were upset with the man, saying that he never stay, he didn't try to fight, he didn't try hard enough to fight, he didn't try to convince Melina to stay, yada 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 yada. I mean, so many different opinions, but in my view, I think the man did try. Maybe he did not get down on his knees and roll and beg and bawl, whoa, Melina, stay with me. Maybe he never do that, that's not a film thing, but he said, Melinda, if you go now, you'll take away everything, because it's your faith, it's your belief in me. I mean, without that, I have nothing, I have nothing left. Melinda, let us try one more time. Let us make this work. Melinda said, sign the papers. So the man, what is the man supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? He signed the papers, and it came to an end, unfortunately. And look how generous the man was. On top of it, the Jamaican society, when you think about this, good. Well, I don't know if it happened in one next parish or some part in Jamaica still, but I don't know about. But a with Jamaican man I go in a situation like that, and then when they make it big, then give millions of dollars to the woman, and even buy back her house and treat her with civility. I mean, maybe they will give you something, yes, but like $10 million. I mean, really, I think Robert was generous. And look what Melinda did. Melinda became greedy. She started trying to get half of his business, and that is something that happens in society so often. I would beat down the man, we make him look like the worst thing. But I mean, it's not always so. Sometimes as women, we need to take a step back, and we need to assess our own self and see that we too are wrong, and sometimes we're very unfair. Well, I don't know if me I will get beaten for this, or people will chastise and say whatever, but I true. Sometimes as women can be really catty, very petty, and very unfair. I mean, even when the men do try to do their part and whatever, they're beaten down on, and make it look like the worst thing, when in fact they're doing the best that they can. So we need to learn to satisfy, right? We need to learn to be appreciative of their efforts just the same. All right. So I mean, societal issues identified. So often too we have, if a man is out late or out, a lot or whatever, the first thing we do is come to the assumption that he is cheating. A woman have you not and tell me nothing, and I can hear you in your mind thinking, oh, you can stay there, be naive and think whatever. Yeah, I'll stay be naive. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's another view, right there. But I'm speaking about the movie here. In the movie, Melinda, from time to time assumed that Robert was cheating, but at no time was he cheating. Again, the lesson for us, the viewers, I mean, why is that always the conclusion? I mean, well, guys, I mean, this is on you. I'm not gonna join the line and bash you too, but I think men have done it so often. This is debatable, and I'm not sure I want to go there, because both men and women cheat. I don't want to go there. But the movie, based on what the movie said, based on what happened in the movie, Robert never did not cheat, but Melinda was always quick to assume that the man was cheating, which were only assumptions. And sometimes those assumptions help to break down relationships, and those relationships are broken down unnecessarily, because if we really didn't trust the man and give him the benefit of a doubt, the relationship would not work, right? So I mean, that's for people to introspect about. I'm not sure I want to touch on that right now because it can be, you know, it's a debatable topic. Both men and women cheat. That's a fact, though, hands down. That's a fact, right? But in the movie, Robert was not cheating on Melinda except for that first time, right? So I mean, this wraps up my view on it. But before I go down, before I insert the section where I actually interviewed some teenagers about their take on the video, I just want to share with you just some pointers that, you know, I would want to leave with couples or persons in general. I believe that you should get help from professionals, people who are trained in the area to help you to resolve your relational issues. And in my saying this, it is not to say that we cannot listen to our family members and our friends, but what we need to do is to be objective. So it's okay to take the opinions, to take what people have to say, and you have to be careful that way you tell the business too, because some people just not happy for you, and then probably I'll do the bad mind, or maybe them just not have the answers. But sometimes you know who is genuine and you know who mean you're good, right? And you know good advice different from bad advice. Well, I think I would like to think that you know good advice from bad advice. I would like to think that you know. Okay, so you have to know who you share your problems with. You have to know who you're sharing your problems with, right? And then you must be objective to say, okay, this is not something that I want. This doesn't resonate with me, so I'm not gonna stick with that. Okay, or you can say, okay, this sounds like something that I can do. Another thing that you need to do too is to evaluate yourself, because it's not always the other person that is wrong. Sometimes it is me. Sometimes it is the I. Nobody is perfect, right? So we need to get to that stage where it's not always the other person who is wrong, right? And another thing, in addition to getting help from a therapist, somebody who is trained to help you, to guide you to solving your differences. But we must always have at the back of your mind, at the front of your mind, everywhere in your mind, you must remember that there are three people in a relationship. When you get married, three people: you, your partner, and God. You, your partner, and God. So at the end of the day, it can't be the family's decision or the friend's decision for you to leave your partner. It must be something that you pray about, you know, you introspect about, you spend enough time working on the issues to resolve it. But at the end of the day, the decision should be really yours. All right. Another important thing is that we must learn to forgive. Right? We must learn to forgive. That is not something that is always easy to do, depending on what the person does. But I mean, my sin is not your sin, and your sin is not mine. Right? We all sin in different ways, but sin is sin in idea. All right. So we need to forgive. We need to, you know, be able to, you know, I mean, give the person, you know, a second, a third, a fourth, 100 time, you know, shots, chances, you know. So learn to forgive. And in forgiving doesn't mean that you repeat, you remind the person of what they did wrong 10, 50, or 100 million times. You know, you go through the cussing and the bawling and the fighting, and then you come to that place where you say, okay, I'm ready to forgive you. When you reach that place, next week, do not bring up back the problem again, unless you're talking about it in an amicable way. But you don't talk about it in a condescending way where you're putting on the person and saying, remember when you didn't this and when you didn't do that or whatever, or you know. So we must learn to let things go. Another thing is that you should guard your mental health. Where did Melinda go wrong, you know, in terms of where the breakdown of her mental health come in? Do you think that she took it a bit too far though? I mean, although boy, the situation they could have drive anybody mad. I'm not telling a lie. It's not funny. Yeah, but the situation could have drive anybody mad. Anybody. Could have drive anybody mad, man. Anybody. But what can you do though? I mean, life is so unpredictable. Anything can happen any minute to anybody, right? But what can you do to safeguard your mental health? What could Melinda have done differently? You know? She dissed the therapist. She dissed that person, and she walked out of therapy and didn't follow through. I mean, she could have, you know, give it a fair chance, you know, follow through with it. I mean, maybe taking herself out of the environment could have helped a bit as well. You know, monitoring her self-talk. What is she saying to herself? Maybe that could have helped as well. I don't know. Tyler Perry, what do you think? I mean, I don't know, but guard your mental health, right? Don't make nobody drive you mad. You know, worth it. You know, worth it, not at all. Next thing is that you should listen and practice effective communication. Listen and practice effective communication. Communication is a two-way street. So it can't be that you're going to be the only one talking. There must be room for the other person to also express themselves and be heard. Do not just listen so that you can give a response, right? You should listen to understand instead, to see things from the other person's perspective or standpoint. All right, so you listen to each other, communicate effectively. Effective communication involves feedback, right? Feedback can be both verbal and non-verbal. So you need to observe the person's body language. You know, what are they not saying, right? Emotional intelligence, that's something that you might want to check out. All right. But those are just some suggestions that I have for you. Is there something that I did not touch on? Could I have gone into this, review, at a greater level? What more would you like for me to do? Please leave your comments, your views in the comment section, and your wish will be my command. It was a pleasure being with you. So remember, I will be doing movie reviews every Monday. So the subscribe button right over here, touch it, just touch it and touch the bell, so each time new content is uploaded you will be in the loop. All right, so I look forward to being with you every Monday, and also you check out my channel on Wednesdays when I will also be doing book reviews. Exciting content on the way, guys. I want you to be in the know, so stay tuned. It's a pleasure sharing with you. Enjoy your life, and importantly, keep safe. This is Julie saying peace out.